Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. My word that I will be speaking on, it's the word advocate. And so I had to use my creative skills to think in a way to perpend of how I would present this speech today. So I am an artist, but I have found myself throughout my lifetime being an advocate. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was always doing something that was out of the box, something that was very creative in problem solving. So it started when I was a mom with 4 kids and would volunteer my time in the classroom. And the teachers would always say, I have this child, or I have these children. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. Nothing works. So something as simple as a pencil, where I was in the schools in San Diego, could be used as a weapon. So they would take the metal off the pencil here with the eraser and would peel it off and would carve the pencil and make it into a weapon. And then they would take the metal and stick it into the eraser and have it hidden. So I had to think that way in my creative problem solving skills. So then that led to me working with the Alzheimer's Society with Scripps Institute in San Diego. And they would say, I have this patient. I've tried everything. Nothing is working. Can I bring my patient into one of your classes? And then the doctor would write me a note and they'd have various things that they had a stroke and it damaged a certain part of the brain, or either they were in a motorcycle accident and it damaged a certain part of the brain, or either they had Alzheimer's or dementia and they couldn't remember their name. So they would ask me, can you try this? Can you try that? And I would do these various things. And then I came to Olympia and started working again with the Alzheimer's Society and would work with different assisted facility programs. And they would have all these art supplies, but it wasn't enough. I always have to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C if something isn't working. So something like I would bring like, hence I would bring rulers, like a traditional wood ruler or a metal ruler, and I would bring it into the classroom. And here I have all these students that are in the dementia, assisted living, Alzheimer's. They don't remember their name. They don't remember their spouses, their children's names. And then I pass out all these supplies. And I had things like, French curves that I would bring in, or templates like this, and I'd pass them out. And then all of a sudden, a conversation would start up, and somebody would say, oh, I used to be a mechanical engineer in my career. And then somebody else would say, oh, I used to be an architect in my career. They remembered their careers. This is happening in assisted living. And then they'd be sitting next to somebody that they had sat next to for years, but they would say to their neighbor next to them at the classroom, oh, hi, what is your name? My name is Bob. Oh, my name is Jeff. Oh, you were an architect? You were an, uh, like a tool, like working with tools. And I wanted to also say that I have all these erasers. I have all different types of erasers. And I would pass these out with children. And one of the things that were very popular, they were kneaded erasers. And you just pull them apart like this, and that's how you clean them. They were very popular. And what would happen with the little children is they'd be really stressed. And instead of making a weapon out of a pencil, they'd be playing with the kneaded eraser. and they were getting all that stress out. Then it came to where I got asked to work with children in foster care as an advocate. And I said, only if I could do artwork with the kids or paint their faces. And I've been painting faces for a very long time. So they allowed me to do that. When I would work with them, again, the kneaded eraser was something very, very popular. I'd always bring a bag and it's loaded with art supplies. And I'd allow all my students in elementary students or students that are in assisted living that have Alzheimer's or dementia or kids in foster care. And I'd let them pick through my bag. And each little section of my bag has something specific. And then all of a sudden they would say, nobody ever listens to my story. You're listening to my story. And it was a self-directed story. So I wanted to also share, I have cards and I'm going to pass these cards out, and you're all welcome to take a card that speaks to you on the area of advocacy. And I encourage all of you as Toastmasters and guests and our Mr. Toastmaster to take a card that inspires you and use your skills as a Toastmaster to inspire others and advocate for them. And advocacy, it's either a noun or a verb, but it's a noun when it's person, place, or thing. It's a verb when you make it an action word. So I've been an advocate all my life, but didn't know it. And one of the things is that we have in Seattle, we have a judge, Judge Sukup, and he was the one that started the CASA program, Court Appointed Special Advocates. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. That was great. That was something to prepend.
Oh, that was.
That's really great that you do that. It's really encouraging to hear there's people like you out there doing these advocacies. Not everybody is out doing that, and I'm very grateful and thank God for people like you out there doing that, thinking things differently and not just coming with a hard hammer at people, but trying to solve a problem. So that's really good to see. Thank you. With that, I'd like to call up Brandy to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our honored guest today, Debbie. It's my pleasure to introduce our second speaker of the day, Robin Lee, who will be giving a speech called Using Pathways to Grow Our Evaluation Skills. And the wonderful thing about Robin is she always gives us something to prepend. Have a wonderful speech.
I am going to use the word of the day today. Oh, this will be perfect. To prepend is to consider. And I want you all to prepend helping me in my high performance leadership project. I have two hanging out for some undetermined length of time that I can't finish those paths without finishing the high performance leadership project. And the project that I have decided to do for the first one is to bring Kyle Hall down here to this room on June 4th, which is a Thursday evening, to deliver his evaluation workshop. And I have seen it done before the pandemic. And it's always a very interesting and exciting way to learn about evaluations. And so it's the flow of the evening. He talks for about 45 minutes, and then someone gives an icebreaker. And I invite us to perhaps have that icebreaker be from our club. And it does not have to be a first-time icebreaker. Matter of fact, it might not want, unless you're really ready for a lot of feedback, you might not be ready to have your very first icebreaker be the one that's given. But we do have people who are returning Toastmasters and things, so anybody here who would like to be that icebreaker person. Yeah.
All right.
We've got it. And that'll be perfect. So we'll just be getting to know you for the first time, but it won't be your first time doing it. That'll be great. So then after the person gives the icebreaker, then 3 people will give evaluations. And then everybody evaluates the evaluators. And that's what Kyle says makes it, really an exciting way to learn about evaluations. And so I would like to make it a district-wide invitation. So in a high performance leadership project, you need to have a mentor committee, something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but I plan to have 3 people. I already got Sherry Kenyon, who was a very long time. I think she said she's been in Toastmasters for 40 years. So she's going to be one of my mentors. And then I would, between the mentor team and the team that is actually getting the work done, I would like at least 1 or 2 of the people to be from the Seattle area so that we can get some of those people to come down our way instead of us always having to go northward. In case not everybody knows, probably we used to be District 32, and we didn't have the large areas in the highly populated areas of Washington. So we had the rural areas and we had Alaska. And now we have added all of District 2, and we've become part of District 2. So that was the Seattle area. And then we've added Idaho and parts of Oregon. So now we are the 3rd largest district in the world with, I think she said 230 clubs, something like that. And so, but I'd like to, use this as an opportunity to get to know some of those people, because part of Toastmasters is what's available to us beyond the club. And by bringing some of those people down to us, then we'll get to meet and exchange with people and potentially have people join our club because they're seeing, that we have some cool stuff going on. Also, like Justin, I was thinking, because one of the Toastmasters that I was talking to was expressing how important it is to be able to give beneficial feedback instead of, not just, well, I don't like that, And so being able for people in the work setting, so maybe it might be something that we invite all the City Lacey employees to come, and we might get some takers to come join Toastmasters again. So that's, I figure probably maybe 3 to 5 people on my committee that's actually doing the work, and we'll be doing things like, posting on social media, getting it on the District 2 calendar. It's been offered that if I write a article about it, I can put it in the district newsletter that comes out once a month or once a week, and be able to get the people for my team and be able to get it out there. So it turns out this room currently has 55 chairs in it, and then it holds up to 75. But I figured we'd probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 40. We might get, before the pandemic, we might get like 40 people max when we would do an in-person training down here. And so, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Anybody who wants to, probably with the evaluators, we might want to give other clubs an opportunity to you know, and then we also get to hear a variety of different ways that people evaluate, which is always interesting. You know, when I have a guest, when I'm giving a speech at somebody else's club or we have a guest evaluator, it's always an interesting way to bring in new ideas for how we do things. So with that, I will give it back to the Toastmaster. Come and talk to me after if you would like to be on my team or help with any of my roles. And I'm so happy I used the rest of them.
Thank you. Good job remembering it. It helps I write it down here for it. Just anybody knows.
Oh, you could keep that up there if you want.
That's okay. All right, so just so everybody knows, our clock is off. So I believe we're gonna go to the table topics 34. So we have time for maybe 1 and 2.
Mine says 12:29.
Let's see, we go to 12:34 for evaluator 1. So couple of table topics. So Debbie, are you in the mood to talk to? Do you want to answer a question I give you today?
Oh, sure.
Come on up and I'll ask you a random question.
Okay.
Right. What is your favorite thing about spring?
Favorite thing about
1 to 2
spring.
minutes. Yeah.
I would have to say my favorite thing about spring are butterflies. Because the flowers all come up and you see the bees humming around and you see the hummingbirds flying and flittering all over the place. And you see the butterflies, and the butterflies always seem to bring a lot of joy and happiness and just in general some freedom of flight, you know, and some peace. So that's why that is my favorite thing about spring.
Butterflies are amazing. Seattle Civic Science Center has the whole butterfly. It's really neat.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
They land on you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Another one. Any takers on a different? I'll keep it the same. How's that? We'll make it easy. Anybody want to answer?
Yeah, I'll take a chance.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ruth. Yeah.
Bruce, okay. We probably got time for both. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you wanna?
31.
Oh, yes, sure. Can I borrow your phone? I don't have mine.
Oh, sure.
Just to pick up the time. Yes.
I think it's total 2 minutes. The table.
Yeah. 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Favorite thing.
I always do this because I don't like it covering me up. So my favorite thing about spring, I have to tell you, the past couple of days have been wonderful. It's like falling into a warm bath for me. You all know I've talked about, I'm originally from New York and I'm used to 3 feet of snow in the winter and slushing through melted snow. But then I moved to LA and it was perpetual sunshine, and you know, from San Diego. And so I've been challenged up here with the dark, gloomy winters. So the past couple of days, the past couple of spring days have truly been an awakening for me. My body feels it. I love the sunshine. My juices, you know, whatever chemicals I'm generating, serotonin and on hormones, I'm on it. I went to an event last night. During the winter, I don't want to drive at night. I went to an event last night, and driving home, seeing the pink skies, I was thinking, wow, I feel really alive. So I understand why in spring everything blooms, because I bloom in spring. I love spring. I love summer. I actually love the fall too, and I'm learning to love the winter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This is a great time of year, isn't it? Let's see. One more?
Okay.
We got one more, Brandy. Waiting to hear from you. Favorite thing about spring?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I volunteered when you said it was going to be the same topic. And the reason is some of the folks in here know about this and some of you don't. I raise native solitary mason bees. I have a whole, actually solitary, but they live in a condominium, and each female is her own queen, and they don't mind living together. And they're starting to hatch, and they've been hatching and mating, and now they're starting to lay next year's larva or their eggs that will turn to larva in the next year's mason bees. And it's such a fun thing to behold and to be a part of and just learn about their whole life cycle. Last year, about this time, I gave a talk. Maybe I should give another talk. Maybe I should. I still have the slides, so maybe I should give that talk again if folks would like me to do that. It's really cool. So that's what I get excited about in the spring. But I feel like this spring, more than I can remember, I feel like that feeling of rebirth, that feeling of hope, that feeling of green life living just feels really poignant and really important. I think just with all the things that are going on in the world and in the country. So I just feel like, and then I feel like a lot of people I've talked to are kind of feeling that too. Like this is just a really hopeful time. So with that, I'm gonna give it back to
Glad you put up in shape. Thank you. Looking forward to the next installment of your beads. Left us hanging a little bit. You got some really good.
Oh, yeah, I'm
presentations
looking
just given. All right, next I'd like to call up our first evaluator. Rachel.
That'll be me.
Yes.
All right, fellow Toastmasters, and most important. We heard an amazing speech. I feel very inspired about your stories. And I wanted to highlight some of the things that I thought you did really good as part of your speech. You use the word of the day. Let's see. I know that you're somewhat new. I think you came the day I came, and it was pretty impressive. I think that she gave a speech that was memorized. There was no cue cards up here. And another thing I thought you did really great was your hand gestures. As you were talking, you were very comfortable with using your body and your hands. One of the things that you did that was funny is you had a conversation, and you used your whole body, and that definitely engages us. Listening to a speech like that. Let's see, props. I thought you were very effective with using props in the speech. I was going to say when you started, I'm doing it myself. When you were starting, you had a pencil in your hand, and as you were talking, I'm doing it right now. So as you're talking, I'm like, I'm kind of distracting. And yeah, no. But then, you brought it into, you're going to tell a story about the pencil, and then I was like completely hooked into her speech. Also, Teresa started using different props while speaking, and I cannot do that. I can't do the, that was terrific. Really, it was very smooth, and props are very engaging in a speech. Maybe something to, I would say, just a couple of hints to challenge yourself maybe the next time, is that Debbie was in starvation corner for eye contact.
Oh.
I mean, you did a great job. You looked at I thought you did pretty good, but I noticed, everybody, we're a very small group here. So, and I'm intimidated by eye contact, so it's very difficult for me. So props to you for doing that, but just, scanning the whole room, and maybe to tell some of these stories. I thought some dynamic vocal variety where really like, oh my gosh, I was completely surprised that, and then you tell something softly, and that level of to get us. Although you told a very informative speech, and It wasn't really a story. I mean, although you had some good stories within it. But that would maybe make it a little more engaging, but your props were spot on. They really drew us in. And something fell out and you something had fallen on the floor.
Yeah, it was.
And it didn't interrupt you. That was the
Yeah,
thing. I'm like,
it was this.
amazing. Oh, and I'm done. But let me just two things. Great job with recovering for that. And also she had a call for action at the end of the speech. And like, I'm going to pass this out and give you some information. I thought that was excellent. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes, thank you. Nice evaluation. Stepping up, brand new, and you did a good thorough evaluation. Nice. All right, next I'd like to call up our second evaluator, Brandy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, our honored guest today, and most of all, Robin. Wonderful speech today. I'm going to give you the good, better, best method of evaluation on your speech, using pathways to grow our evaluation skills. So you started out talking about your 2 high performance leadership projects. And I wanted to say that your introduction was very good. And I liked how you used the word of the day into your introduction very comfortably. That was a pro move. Some of the things that you did well, in addition to the introduction, was you had a good explanation of the project overall. You fit a lot of information in 7 minutes. That's not easy to do. You give a nice history of the clubs and our district, which is great for not only those of us who've been in Toastmasters for a while and don't know that level of history, but for our new members as well. You got a volunteer for the evaluation project right off the bat, which is always a good sign. People are interested, they want to participate. I liked your comfortable pace. You were very relaxed up here, and it made us all feel relaxed, or at least it made me feel relaxed. Some things that you can work on. Did you say the date and time in your talk at all?
Yes.
You did. Okay, I just missed it in the beginning. So that was on me. That was me not fully paying attention as an evaluator. It's hard as an evaluator to pay attention to all the things, right? That's why it's good to have 3 evaluators evaluating you. You said you had 2 HPLPs. I wasn't sure what the 2 different projects were. I only caught the night with Kyle Hall as being like the project.
Yeah, that's the first.
The first of the 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was a little unclear with that. Another thing that I noticed today was there were quite a few you knows, so's, and ums. But you do it beautifully. Like if I wasn't listening for that as an evaluator, I don't think I would have noticed it. And when I hear myself, I gave a really big speech the other day and I listened back, I had so many ums. So for me to like point out somebody else's ums feels really kind of, but there it is. I just did, So something to work on. However, what I thought you did best was you clearly explained the value of the project, not only how it could help all of us as evaluators and what we could learn from Kyle, but also that we can grow our club. This project will have a lot of impact and it'll be a really positive thing. So with that, I'm going to give it back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you for that evaluation. Sorry, I missed the date and time as well, so I was probably somewhere else, but
I have to say, I missed the time. I'm just gonna.
I didn't say the time, I did say the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will
Nice.
give you more.
perfect,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry,
Oh, it's okay. We'll
I'll
just give me an
yeah.
even 3.
Okay, I would like to call up on our general evaluator. Give our reports for the day.
I'm gonna start out by saying, oh, I forgot that part of the speech. So of course, my evaluator would not know this, but when I chose that title, one of the reasons that I chose it is I wanted to remember to share with you all that you can use various Toastmasters projects within Pathways to help with this project. So even though I'm using it as my high performance leadership project, if you don't want to have, you don't have a HPL to do, or you don't want to do it at this, you know, this level right now, you can choose the project on PR to, you know, maybe give a speech at a different club, or, you know, do some PR and then give a speech on how that's progressing because you put flyers out at such and such places, or, you know, so there's different ways. And I was shown last night how to use the little chat feature on the international website to say, if this is the kind of talk that I'm supposed to give, what speech project could I use for that? So that's a new thing that I learned is that possible, so that we could, and you don't have to do your pathways in order. You can go out of order. So, so that was a negligent part on my part. The meeting, I feel like, flowed pretty well, even though we still had to get some roles filled at the beginning of the day. I would love to get better about filling those under, you know, earlier. I also want to make sure, are all of our new members in our text thread or not yet?
I believe not, and I think you mentioned, I think Kim usually does that. He has all the numbers, I believe.
So,
Just
yeah, we
now the
should
pilot-
get that updated so that when I'm saying, okay, there's all these things, we can actually get people in there. And then, so Rachel, it was great to hear you give an evaluation. I'm happy to have you in the club. And I think you did really well for, I don't know how long you've not been a Toastmaster since in your, you know, in your taking time off, but it's always great when people come back. We recognize that we get rusty when we haven't been giving talks for a while. And so great to have you on our club. And with that, I will, do I give it, oh, no, then I call
All
it
the
for
reports,
the
yeah.
reports.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start with Ruth and the Chambers report.
Okay. So I'm starting with, oh, Teresa, your first speech. You were allowed 7 minutes and your total was 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Robin, your first speech, you were allowed 7 minutes and your total was 6 minutes and 52 seconds. Debbie, you were allowed 2 minutes and you were 34 seconds. For my table topics, I was allowed 2 minutes and I was 1 minute and 21 seconds. And Brandy, for table topics, you were allowed 2 minutes and you were 1 minute and 34 seconds. Rachel, for your evaluation, you were allowed 3 minutes and you were right on the dot, 3:30. You had some grace that you used. And then Brandy, now this is Brandy, you were at 3 minutes. We agreed on 3 minutes. I'm sorry, I lost track of the time when I was timing Brandy. We're giving her 3 minutes. And then Robin, for general evaluator, you were allowed 3 minutes and it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we will have Kathy give us the Meridian report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I have a full sheet. I'll go as quickly as I can. I'll start with Ruth. You did not see a word of the day, if I'm incorrect. Okay.
I did not.
Okay.
yes.
I saw I love that you said grace used, falling into a warm bath, 3 feet of snow, perpetual sunshine, awakening, serotonin, event, feel really alive, bloom in spring, learning to love winter. Words that detract, so twice and 3 times, 7 times, 6 times. Next, Justin, 1 word of the day. Justin, 1 word of the day. Good word usage, advocacies, installment of B's. Thorough evaluation, no detracting words that I found. A plus. Robin, good word usage, new ideas, committee, article, district newsletter, chat features. Didn't know about those. Interesting, always interesting. High performance leadership project, third largest district in the world. Thought that was phenomenal. And you said icebreaker, highly populated. You had 2 words of the day. Words that detract. You have a favorite and so. Those are like together multiple times. But I separated them, but I could group those together because that's maybe
That's good to
something
know.
that's something to hear. And so they all, it's almost like one word when you say it. 3 times, 17 times, and 20 times, so 10 times, like twice, 7 times. And I think you get comfortable with the and. It's the thinking, like I can see you processing when you do the and so. Like your process is like that's what I visualize, like it's your mental processor. So maybe a pregnant pause might be, or something to fill the space, or let it be. Teresa, good word usages, advocate, volunteer, creative problem solving skills, scripts, institute, Alzheimer's Society, dementia, mechanical engineering, career, inspire, needed erasers. I'm gonna have to get some of those. Stress, area, advocacy, noun or verb. Something to ponder. 1 word of the day. So you almost had 2. You said word of the day, but then you used word of the day. So 8 times and 18 times, like 1 time, twice, and you had a lot of double words with I would. I would.
Okay.
And Rachel, good word usage, informative speech, dynamic vocal variety, scan the room, eye contact, starvation in the corner. That was like, whoa, that was good. That was imagery. I could see that. Effective props, pencil in hand, looked smooth. CTA, inspired, memorized, hand gestures, comfortable, engages you, engages us, engaging. Good. Words that detract, like once and 4 times, 1 time, 4 times. Really good. Debbie, all colorful language, butterflies, hummingbird, joy, happiness, freedom of flight. All good. No detracting words. And I believe, Brandy, good word usage. Solitary mason bees,
Solitary native bees. Or mason bees.
Native. Solitary native mason bees. Behold, life cycle, rebirth, hope, green, life-giving, hopeful, introduction, volunteer, pro move, comfortable, pace, 2 HLPs, you can't read that, unclear, and impact. Words that detract and 3 times, once, so 3 times, like once, and twice. And I think I have everybody.
I always love Meridian report. I did this speech at Capitol Club on Tuesday, which is why you guys got a little more information, because I got some good feedback. But the grammarian said, was the word of the day. You can come and talk to me if you want to know any more. Like, she was spushed. And so to me, hearing how many times, and for me particularly, when I am giving some content that I know really well, it's easier for me to do it with fewer filler words. when I give when I'm giving a talk on something that I don't know as well, then they really come in a lot. Or if I'm in an unfamiliar space, then they might come in a lot. And so it is super helpful. Now that 3-word combination, I'm like, nobody's ever said that before.
And
So I-
so on.
And so, like, does anybody else remember me ever having that 3-word combination?
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah.
Either 2 or 3.
Okay, when I do the 3-word combination, you are definitely, it's good to put it as a one filler and how many times I do it, because
Because you're grouping them together.
yeah, nobody's ever said I'm grouping those together. Learn something new.
I know,
every
it's
day.
funny how you don't know so many things that you do.
Yeah, it's
And
really
it's-
the subconscious mind
Right.
just rolling it out.
Right.
You don't have a clue. So it's very good to bring that to our attention. That's why we have our room. What time is it?
12:54.
12:54. Okay.
Yeah.
With that, we will ask.
A couple of, I asked for new business.
She would
I
have
have-
something to suggest about the Joel.
Oh,
think
yeah,
maybe
3,
Ian,
I have 3
we have a
items.
minute for,
The Jolt.
she can fill
For
in.
what?
You
Oh,
got
Oh,
Yes.
Local
Yes.
newspaper.
Why don't we ask the guests how you enjoyed the meeting, and then we could always officially close the meeting, and then you can.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I do enjoy the meeting night, and I especially enjoy you. You are just so detailed. I just can't believe, like, I don't know that I can hear that well, to really catch all the little oohs and ahs and this and that. I'd be
Yeah.
terrified to do that job just because I know I wouldn't do it nearly as well as you. And I especially enjoyed your topic. I've never heard of solitary mason bees. So very interesting.
In the process of gaining the skills, like every role has a skill that goes with it. It takes a while to remember to be the timer, because you get so engaged in listening to the speech. And so each role has, and it's good not to get stuck in just one, because then you're kind of, well, I don't like doing that part. Well, that's exactly why you should take that role, is so that you can get practice doing the things that you don't like, instead of staying in the roles that you know you're good at. And so each role has a purpose, and we all had to pick up that ability to listen more. And most rarely do you get that detailed of a grammarian report, but it's wonderful when we do, because then you get to have that extra level of feedback. Sometimes people will say you had more than 10, like they'll stop counting at a certain. I'd like to know if I had 22 personally. One time I had 22 in a minute and a half table topic. And I'm like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
So then when I get down to 5 or 10 in a 5 to 7 minute speech, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's progress.
So with that, I think we're past, so I'm going to go ahead and put gavel and officially end the meeting. Then we can have you, and we can get anybody who wants to take a role for next week. I'll write it down and put it in the system. So
Great.
now,
Oh,
what is it you
oh,
want?
so I have 3
I'm gonna
things.
toss
One
these
is,
cards
I
out,
didn't
and I'm gonna
know
let you go
that
first,
you
because there's
handled the
butterflies.
PR. I went to a joke event
you
last
take-
night. One is a